You nailed it. You don't need 10,000 followers. You need 10 people who trust you enough to take action. A couple weeks out to the end of the year, 2025, and LinkedIn is more saturated than ever. Everybody sounds the same, but no one's getting remembered. There's definitely, controversial niche takes like within your world that you want to share, and that's what people want to hear. They want to know what you have to say and what your perspective and how potentially it could help your clients or your audience that you want to serve, right? And, the paradox is really the more content creation than ever is occurring, but less actual connection.
We are back. Another episode.
25. Is this 25?
I think it is 25. Yeah, I think it is number 25.
For the 25 days of Christmas?
The 25 days of Christmas, we're here. This will be coming out in in 2026, which is wild to think about. But yes, 2026. This episode will be live. Or at least you'll get to watch it.
Man, that's crazy. That's a lot of weeks of doing this.
It is. And my math's not that good, but the next one we will do will be half of the year that we've officially done a podcast.
Didn't think that was going to happen.
No. But put two knuckleheads together with a desire to create a podcast. And this could be part of what we could start talking about today is, so many times I see people get onto whether it's whatever social media or thought leadership they're doing, and they're like, I did it for 2 months and it doesn't work. And I know you and I, when we talked about doing this podcast, we're like, all right, are you committed to do it for a year? And we were both like, yep, we're committed. So committing to long-term process and protocol is at least opens the doors to success. How about that?
Hey, listen, consistency is key, and I think this actually leans right into something I wanted to talk about, ironically. I didn't really set the table on purpose, but I did want to talk about the engagement trap, which is, not getting engaged and being trapped and married for life, but the engagement trap.
I didn't know we were going to go that way. Okay, cool.
It's similar to, creating a podcast, and maybe you don't get 1 million listens and you give up, right?
Yeah.
And we made this podcast to speak to a very small niche audience because it's important to us.
Yeah.
And I think I think we've created a generation of content creators who are rich in attention and broken reality and trust. And your engagement can be way up, but your revenue isn't.
Yep.
And you're starting to wonder if this whole personal branding thing is working or it's a scam. But I think it's not a scam, and I think those people that are measuring the wrong things, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been doing this now because again, I need probably another hobby, but I chart a lot of things, just data analytics of stuff that I've done. And, I'm going on 6+ years of personal brand and all that other stuff. And I had I'm not telling this story in any way, shape, or form to impress anybody because it's not that impressive, but I had a call with somebody and I popped on the screen and I'm like, hey, how are you? And he's like, great. He goes, oh my gosh, I'm talking to a LinkedIn legend. Like, all right, I'm not a LinkedIn legend by any means. I'll pay you a lot more, but he's like, I remember you did this and stuff that it doesn't matter, but I'm telling you that kind of stuff works. Personal branding works. It's a consistency piece of the puzzle that you have to commit in your brain that I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it for multiple years. And, some guys that we've had on this podcast, like Seth Turnoff, I think he's posted every day for 4 years or something. I don't remember the crazy metric it is, but yeah. And it doesn't mean that you have to post every day for 4 years. That's a little obsessive. Hi, Seth. I hope you're listening. Do it twice a week, just do it.
Hey, listen, I mean, I do give him a lot of credit for doing it. It's amazing. That's no small feat. And, he's done it. He's created his environment and followers and is as organic as you can do it. So,
yep.
The algorithm right now, who knows, but it's rewarding, genuine, authentic human connection and sharing your story, your experience, and teaching. And he does that too. So, I mean, there's, he does that with his business. He does that with his clients that are reading, that are following. He does it the right way. So, and what it kind of leads to what I was saying was, and he does it well, is you don't need that massive audience. Just like we don't have a massive audience with this podcast. You just need the right 50 to 100 people seeing consistent, clear, conversion-focused content that makes working with you inevitable, just kind of like how you got on that call with that person that called you the LinkedIn legend, right?
Yeah.
And the sale had already happened with him or her in the scroll, not not in the close. You've already built that trust, and that's the idea. And it's not showy, or I gotta get post a selfie and get 500 likes. There's brand partnership avenues to go down. It's not just building a brand to convert your audience by creating content that speaks to what they're dealing with in their their day to day. That's definitely the most important. But there's there's other ways you can take it. But as long as there's a plan, of course, there's people posting selfies and all this trap content. That's not really what we're going for. But just making sure you're speaking to the right people.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And that may take some time for those people to find you. They will, most definitely. It just takes time to make that all happen. And, it's guys like Gary Vaynerchuk or, out there going to garage sales, and you're like, I don't know. Have you ever seen when he does that garage sale thing where he goes out?
Yeah, it gets a ton of engagement.
Oh, it's like by far he's like is the most engagement I possibly can get. Why? It's him really going out in the world and like doing things that are, people like, I don't, I'm not glued to the TV when I see somebody going to a garage sale, but when he does it, I'm thinking, man, this is pretty cool.
I wanted to share my experience too. Was this past weekend I posted a couple posts about my perspective right now, GLP-1s, and where GLP-1s, the retatrutide, new peptide, GLP-1 and whatnot, and I put a decent amount of thought in the post and wrote it and posted it, and I got 30, 40 likes, but I got 5 physicians message me, connect with me. One physician that I follow and engage with his content asked if they could refer me to them, and she had already signed, and she had already gone to the website for my company and submitted the form to sign up as a client because I talked about testosterone MCT oil, not just GLP-1s. This is another post.
Oh, wow.
And like inputted all her personal licensure information, credit card to set up as a clinic. You know how hard that is to do that on a regular basis when you're making sales calls? It's about as hard as it gets. This was just from me posting one post. So, we talked to different people about this, top of the funnel, content creation, being that authority in this niche environment as LinkedIn, and writing about, your unique perspective. People, I write in a little bit of an edgy way that I do it on purpose because I do have strong opinions. It does get engagement, but it also creates, authoritative perspectives that people are like, okay, well, he's really, whether I agree with it or not, he's really invested in the topic and wants to hear, wants to put his thoughts out there. Not a lot of people are afraid to do that. If he's doing that, then I want to hear what else he has to say on the topic, and he's probably a useful asset that I should work with. And, that's a couple posts in the last 3 days. So, and the people that we talked to on top of the funnel, and how, going out and, traditional sales is broken and you need to incorporate this. They just have sometimes it just goes straight over their head. I'm like, it's not that hard. We just need to show you how it works, and you'll see how it works.
Yeah. There's a distinct reason why they're what they call quote unquote social selling is, it's exploding. There's agencies that are now dedicated to social selling, which 2 years ago or 3 years ago, yeah, there were some doing. I mean, I think in the SaaS world they were doing it, but now you got to learn how to do it. If you don't, you're going to get left behind, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, and it definitely takes practice. It takes practice. It takes coming out of your shell. It takes maybe putting yourself out there in a way that you've never had to before. And, the referral example that I use, I had invested, heavily into that person that referred to me his content because I do appreciate his content. So that was a little bit more of a, loaded situation, but that, take that out of it. I still had 5 other physicians connect with me and message me and say, hey, I just wanted to reach out, connect with you. Like that doesn't happen on the regular.
No, gosh, no. Can you imagine making sales calls and back in the day, trudging around to office after office after office and trying to get that kind of engagement? I mean, can you imagine the amount of time and effort and what it would take?
Yeah, these physicians aren't stupid. They know this is where it's going. The ones that get it know where it's going.
Oh, yeah.
They understand that the system is squeezing them, the institutions are squeezing them. They have more talent and they're worth more to the system than, what they're paid for, and they want to go out and craft their voice and shape it, and they need to, align themselves with people that are, pushing the limits in healthcare and giving their opinions. And that's just our bubble, right? There's many other industries that you could do this in, or many other verticals of medicine. I live heavily in the, functional medicine world, especially, but, there's tons of course, there's a huge, ortho and regenerative medicine.
Well, you were talking to, I know, without saying a name, you were talking to a neurosurgeon that's looking to craft their voice in the space. And, obviously being a neurosurgeon, obviously they're doing quite well in what they're doing, but what was some of their reasoning for wanting to talk to we're going to help him do that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. He reached out the other day again, just being like, hey, just wanted to check in, still very interested, just, mapping out the rest of what I'm thinking about doing. And, I'm bringing this up. It's not the only messages that I get.
Yeah.
I have many examples of, and you do too, right?
Sure.
Of physicians or thought leaders or that are in bloom and trying to understand how to get going, and just reach out. It was like, man, how did you decide that you wanted to go down this route and start sharing, right? And that conversation started because patients are asking. His patients are asking for continuity of care because it doesn't exist in his vertical of surgery, that they get left behind.
Yeah.
Right. The system just treats them, and then there's no post-operative treatment plan. And he's one of the most talented in his field, and his patients are saying, why don't you just offer a whole experience, because we need it, you want to do it, and the system's squeezing you. And that's that was the impetus to him reaching out.
That's fantastic. I mean, there are physicians that we work with, they're trying to do that every day, shaping their voice. And and if you're listening to this right now, you're one of the billions that are listening right now, and you're in the medical device and you're an executive, or you're an entrepreneur in a startup or a founder. It's like, where you want to be is not trying to make multiple phone calls to people. You want to be sharing who you are, what you do, and the value that you can bring. You need to be out there, and it's amazing to me. I think 2026 is going to be very interesting and a great year, in the respect that I think a lot of clients that we talk to and people that we know and have used agencies, and these agencies are telling them all about, look how many views I can get you, and I can get you hundreds of thousands of views. And it's not about that anymore. And I think the ones that are figuring it out, that, hey, I only need, out of my 92 views, like 6 people to talk to about this, that's what it's all about. So I think there's going to be a dramatic shift. We talk about all the time. AI is flooding the waves with just crap, really, is what it is. And so if you want to be genuine, and obviously you do, your thought leadership, and I said it, I guess I did a video last week about it. Like, you just want to share 2 minutes a week of a video of you sharing value. It's going to go so much farther than, let me throw on Facebook an ad, in my opinion.
Yeah, you nailed it. You don't need 10,000 followers. You need 10 people who trust you enough to take action.
Yeah. Well said.
Right. So, and, we're a couple weeks out to the end of the year 2025, and LinkedIn is more saturated than ever. Everybody sounds the same, but no one's getting remembered.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, controversial niche takes, like, within your world that you want to share, and that's what people want to hear. They want to know what you have to say, and what your perspective and how potentially it could help your clients or your audience that you want to serve, right? And the paradox is really, the more content creation than ever is occurring, but less actual connection. So how do you find that ability to create content and connect authentically? And that's really just about finding your unique voice and using AI as a tool, but not the whole tool. And we talked a little bit about that last episode, and that's super important. It just, it's crazy just looking at the social media line right now. And, we talk about it, but it really comes down to, if you're not building that trust proactively, someone else is defining you by default. And do you really want that?
What a profound statement. Yeah. If you're not doing it proactively, yeah, 100%. And that's the way it always used to happen in the past. Now you have an opportunity to change that trajectory pretty quick. And, in the past, it would be word of mouth referral, or I'd have to, go to a magazine or a newspaper and they would print a story about me that was usually kind of made up. And, now, man, you have all the avenues to create a genuine thought process, or your thought process, and be genuine in the process of doing it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And, if you post these engagement trap pictures or posts or whatever, the algorithm rewards that, of course. And it's good from time to time. It helps us, with the dopamine kick. Who's going to lie about that?
Yeah.
Your audience validates you in that situation, but that validation doesn't pay for your mortgage. And what does is talking to your ideal audience really specifically and connecting genuinely. And you don't want to confuse popularity with profitability, because one feels good and one pays the bills.
Yeah.
And, if your, engagement rate is, 8 to 10%, but your conversion is 0, which one really matters? So
conversion pays the bills.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that when you look at what's happening right now, and I hear it all the time from people, like, hey, I don't even look at that stuff anymore, because there's just so much stuff that doesn't interest me. And that's what the algorithm and these companies are trying to figure out right now. And, there's all this, the AI bubble is bursting, and, all that kind of stuff. So what an opportunity. I mean, you're going to have right now the opportunity where you can take this and do a video and share what you're doing today and why you're doing it. And if you're a physician, and you can, share a story about a patient, and you can be walking through the halls of your office, or you're walking through the hospital. And I know a lot of you are going, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Let me tell you, that's really powerful stuff. And if you're a founder and entrepreneur in the healthcare space, and you're walking together with a surgeon, and you pull out a phone and say, hey, would you mind? Let's have a discussion about what just happened. That's a really powerful video that people want to watch.
Yeah, and it takes 2 seconds.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yep.
Well, hard pivot. I want to go and talk a little bit about Content Crib and what we got coming up in March. I have a lot of people on the hook that haven't, booked their. Actually, I had 2 conversations today already with potential new attendees. And if you had a little bit of a morsel you wanted to share, what we're looking at for what we're going to be doing during Content Crib 6.0.
Yeah, 6.0 is going to be awesome. It's really going to focus on. Going to kind of peel back the curtain here a little bit, but we're going to team people up with individuals we think that really could help. We're going to analyze who exactly is in the room. Then we may switch it all around once we get there. But no, we're gonna take people who are in the room, create some teams. We're gonna really focus on how you can create thought leadership, how you can share your message. We're gonna talk a lot about video. We're going to work on a lot of things, video, talk about what can really work and accentuate what you want to say. It's going to be action-packed. This one is going to it's going to focus heavily on our premise of 1 + 1 = 3, that this community can really help each other grow, build, laugh, have fun, all of the above. And it's just... that's really what has happened with Content Crib. We started this off as in a mansion in Las Vegas in the middle of nowhere, talking about, hey, this is how you use the phone, and this is how you do the, and it's gone from that to just a really cool group of individuals getting together and trying to help each other. and it's a really cool community. So you'll see a lot more come out about 1+1=3, because that's just it's something that's come. It's a byproduct of this community that's super cool. So that's going to be the plan of Content Crib 6.0. I will tell you, we've got a few spots left. We always pull back, a few just for people newer, or new registrants, or people who want to come. So get in touch with myself, Chris, Matthew Ray Scott, if you'd like to come. We have a few spots left, and we're holding them for you guys.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one. Man, what a great time October was. That was, out of all the ones that I've been to, that was just transformative. It was insane. And people really came away from that with a lot to run with. And I'm seeing it, the LinkedIn feeds, I'm seeing it in the DMs and text messages and different businesses that are, popping up and networking. It's just crazy. And it's just the new way. If you want to get ahead in 2026 and get, set a foundation with all that's happening and craziness in the world, this is where to do it.
Yep.
Because it's not getting any easier out there for any of us. And, all rowing in the same boat together is a powerful thing, especially in this healthcare space. We're all trying to make sure at the end of the day that the end user, the patient, benefits from our work. And then we're able to put, food on the table for our families. So we all believe, in that and the work that we do, and it's powerful to be a part of. So.
Yeah, and I did want to just do a shout out here. I don't think we've ever done a podcast shout out. So this will be a first. But Dr. Adrienne Towson opened up her new office.
Congratulations.
One of our Content Crib alum. Go check out, if you're listening on LinkedIn, go check out what she's doing. It's super cool. And she's documenting and chronicling her journey, which is even better. And she shares a lot of great information, and she's opened up her brand new office in the Philadelphia area. And
the Towson Clinic.
The Towson Clinic, correct. Yeah. And so that's super cool. And maybe we'll have her come on sometime and share her story. But it's awesome that she's kind of giving us a blow by blow of how it's all going, from the office being just a space to now it's open and she's seeing patients.
Yeah, Westchester, PA. If you're in the area and you're looking for longevity, midlife optimization, peak performance at any age, really, not just midlife, that's what she's doing. Hormone optimization, peptide therapy, all of the above. And I'm working with her. It's super exciting. It's going to be good. There's just not enough physicians that are out there at the moment dialed in on, patient outcomes, and we need more. And I'm glad she took the leap into this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And
in terms of functional medicine is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And her office looks beautiful.
We'll have to take a field trip.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe that we'll go in the summertime though. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, on that note,
it's a wrap.
That's a wrap. And I know I'll be talking to you before this, but Merry Christmas, everybody. You'll be watching or hearing this in 2026, but happy holidays.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.